now we bring you the story of the satire Sex, Violence, Family Values in the hope that it will shed some light on the state of film censorship in morally cautious Singapore. The film is somewhat in the same vein as Sacha Baron Cohen's crude, politically incorrect comedy Barat. Sex, Violence, Family Values was banned last October, but after a few short edits, it's now playing to audiences. Carmen Roberts from Singapore reports.
Oh, you are so beautiful.
Then take me.
Okay.
It's not the sort of film you'd expect to come out of so-called sanitary Singapore, and it very nearly didn't. Just days before Sex, Violence, Family Values was due to open at cinemas last October, the Singaporean government withdrew its rating and in effect banned the film. It took issue with scenes where an ethnic Chinese pornography director hurls a slew of racially tinged insults at his Indian actor.
When Lynn, my producer, said she hired someone called Vivian, I thought it was for the female lead, no?
But the film's director, Ken Kwek, maintains he wrote a satire meant to poke fun at, mock and undermine racism, not condone it.
I think that I knew that the themes were a little bit tricky, given the sensitivities here about, issues of race and religion. But at the same time, Singapore has already, screened films like Borat and The Dictator. So if there are films that are as irreverent like that here, why can't I do a Singapore film of a similar tone?
Singapore is a multiracial country, with a majority being ethnic Chinese and roughly a quarter comprising of Malays and Indians. But it's also a country where chewing gum is prohibited and pornography is illegal, so it might not come as a surprise that this film was banned. Sex, Violence, Family Values is made up of 3 short films with storylines centred around dysfunctional families, racism and promiscuity, issues that are considered touchy in Singapore.
It's so nice to see you. Good morning. Thanks for coming in. Good morning, Oliver.
There are a lot of salacious references. In this scene, a teacher approaches a mother concerned by her child's sexually suggestive drawings.
Sorry. I didn't know.
And so, after months of deliberation and appeals, 8 seconds was cut from the film, and it opened to local audiences with a revised R rating.
I think overall it still is a very good production, Singapore-based. I'm very proud of it.
I think that it shows a sense of humour that I really miss. I don't think I've really seen in local film.
Of course, it's not as transgressive or as rude as Borat, but it does press buttons, and that's another reason why I like it. Singapore's made in Singapore cinema is usually horror and slapstick comedy. Nothing that actually makes you feel anything. This one makes you feel something.
Pole dancing and racism, it's not the same thing.
Silence on the set, please.
The Singaporean Media Development Authority claims it banned the film after members of the public complained after seeing the trailer last year.
Well, it's not good news, that's for sure. For anyone who wants to step outside the commercial zone, who wants to make a film that makes you think, right? Because you're going to have to keep second guessing. We have a population of 5.3 million here. If someone were to pick up the phone or drop an email because of something they think they saw, your film could get pulled. So it's not good news.
At the same time, now that the film has been allowed, we can maybe take some relief that there's some little bit of sense has gone through, and that the government is seeing that, hey, maybe it's really not so bad. It's a movie.
You could say a ban is good for business. Last year, Cathay, the local cinema here, was only willing to give the film a 1-week release. And that's largely due to the dismal box office takings of previous English-language films made in Singapore. But now, thanks to all the publicity, Sex, Violence, Family Values could be something of a local blockbuster.
As Martin Scorsese says, you think like a pro, you act like a pro.
While Sex, Violence, Family Values has managed finally to reach cinema audiences in Singapore, it's now meeting opposition in neighbouring Malaysia. It was scheduled to be screened this month at the ASEAN Film Festival, but Malaysia's Film Censorship Board has banned the picture.